Hello, TikTok. Hello, everyone in social media world. We are talking about hilarious moments as it relates to special needs parenting, as well as a lot of things. So, again, I'm Dr. Regina. I'm a board certified psychiatrist. I'm also a lifestyle medicine provider, and we'll talk about some other things. Let me give you a little bit of a hint of what we might be doing going forward for the rest of April and possibly into May. When we share some things, especially if they're a little bit difficult to digest for whatever reason, we're going to try to have a moment of hilarity in there just so that we all just feel better and we have something to smile about, because some of the things that we talk about can get really dark. We're going to have some dark days ahead. I can already promise you that. But with those dark days, there will also be some very, very cool bright spots. So I'll share some of the hilarity, and some of them will make the cut and make it to actual reels that'll go on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. And then TikTok will come back and spin some things up for you guys as well. So your call to action, I'm going to try to give a call to action about every minute, because that's how long you guys over here on TikTok last. Y'all are a different generation of people. Um, but we're going to leave that there. We'll come back and talk about you guys a little bit later. And I'll give a little hilarity from a generational standpoint as well. But for my call to action for you guys right now, one of the things I want you to do, and I might throw in a different call to action, but one of the things that I want you to do is, please, sir, please, ma'am, if you have a mother, a father, anyone who is living, if you still have a living parent, grandma, auntie, nana, mama, whoever you have that's in your life, please go give them some love today. Give them their flowers while they're living. It can be something super small. It could be something super big. I already got my mom her Mother's Day gift, and many of the moms in our lives, we're trying to bless them in the upcoming weeks. Mother's Day is like next weekend, okay? And Father's Day is basically a month after that. So come on, guys, you've got time, especially if the person is someone who takes care of kids with special needs or people with special needs, adults with special needs. Please, please, please take the time, pick up the phone, send them text, send them the card now. Go ahead and put the card in the mail now. Go ahead and put the card in the mail now. Go ahead and put the card in the mail now. This is your warning. This is your wake up call. That was your call to action number one. So, hilarity. I will tell you that, again, for some of the fun times, some of the not so fun times that happen in this race called life and motherhood, I will tell you that there are a couple memes that I've seen, and the number one meme, if you know what it is, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to start typing it in your comment section before I say it. But I've shared it before, and when I shared it, it was kind of in a dark way. But I'm going to go ahead and share now. Okay. The meme that I see all the time is usually some funny example of a mom, and she's saying, I am an autism mom and I cannot die. And almost every autism mom who sees it immediately cracks up laughing or smiles and sends hearts and likes and thumbs up and all of that. Because in our world, it's kind of true. We do so much. I'm not saying that dads don't. My husband, my kid's dad, he is phenomenal with the kids and does a lot with the kids. I mean, you should have seen him at some other child's party. It wasn't even my kid's party. It was another child's kids party that we went to as a family. And they decided that they wanted to play chase, and he was it. And so you had this grown adult male running through the play place with all these little children following. It was funny because you'd have, a big one and then a smaller one and then a smaller one and then my son coming up on the rear. It was just hilarious. But we have to add the hilarity, the reality of the real life, the REAL and the REEL life, because otherwise, first of all, what's the point, right? If life is going to be a drudgery and you don't have any fun or meaning from it, that's kind of sad. But our kids sometimes are reasons for living, and they can be super fun and very hilarious. So the meme, I think is funny. When I see it, it just brings a little bit of a smile to my face because I know what I do as a mom. Yes, the dads do great stuff, but as a mom, I mean, there are some things that we're going to do as a mom that I honestly don't think anyone else would do. If it's a single dad, yeah, maybe. But when there's a mom and a dad, or multiple people in the household, there are things like we do silly stuff, y'all. We do silly stuff. But there was a time, and I actually have it recorded in my son's medical record because he had some incident. And when I went back and read it, I just had to bust out laughing because I was like, this is hilarious and actually just kind of silly. Because I literally had camped out in his room next to his crib, which is very strange because his room was literally almost connected to ours at the time. So if something happened, I would have heard it, right? And we had one of those little, what do you call those things that you put at the bedside? You put one in their room, you put one in your room, and then you can hear them. And when you turn it on a certain way, they can hear you. You know, little two-way radios that you have when the babies are small. Yeah, I had one of those. I could have heard all kinds of things. But for some reason, your girl here decided that clearly she had to be right there. I had to make my little palette. If you don't know what a palette is, go look it up. But I had to make my little palette. If you're from the South, you know. Make my little pallet beside his crib. So, and laid beside the crib, slept beside the crib when he came from the hospital after some hospitalizations. We'll talk about that another time. But I would lay there all night, just listening to him breathe, as if, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. Now that I think about it, I look back and I'm just like, what were you thinking? What were you, between the fact that the door is open, which meant that either of us could have heard him, plus the baby monitor, that's what it's called. Why did I feel the need to sleep beside his crib, just waiting? Like, and if I fell asleep, that means that I'm asleep. I can't hear him not breathe or stop breathing. I was just so afraid he was going to stop breathing, y'all. So afraid he was going to stop breathing. Or have a seizure, because at the time he had a seizure. He was on anesthesia medicines, all the things. And I was just like, this is hilarious. When we do the reel, this is the second one I'm going to tell you, is our kids have so many allergies, so many food allergies, so many food sensitivities. Some of them are real and some of them are pretend. There was a period of time, you all, where my son really had a legit blueberry allergy. But here's the thing. It wasn't to blueberries. Let that one settle in for a moment, because it took me a minute. Turns out he was allergic to the blueberry dye. So it's something about, even if you put real blueberries or fresh blueberries and things, they often will still add a little bit of a dye. And so he was actually allergic to the dye, but we didn't know that. We just knew that whenever we gave him anything with blueberries in it, he would break out, he would get a rash. He was already allergic to Keflux. We found it out in the nursery. And then later on, we found out he was also allergic to clindamycin. So now we're just like, and then it turned out that it was blueberries. So he didn't have blueberry muffins, blueberry pancakes, blueberry oatmeal, nothing, because we were so afraid. And then later I got the bright idea, because I'm a mom, but I'm also a doctor. So I was just like, what if we start, slowly introducing little parts to him, and he'll eventually outgrow the allergy. That you can do that. Obviously you want a physician and an allergist to help you with this. But of course, I was the mommy doctor, Dr. Mom, that got the bright idea. Well, let's start doing this. It was a good thing. It all worked out well. But the hilarity in it is that the idea even came in my mind, because it really shouldn't have. I should have been focused on other things at the time. But anyway, got the bright idea that we're going to desensitize this child, because clearly he has to have blueberries in his life. Because what is he going to do if he can't eat blueberries? Like, the world is going to end for him if he can't have a blueberry. The hilarity of just all of the things that were going in my little mommy brain. But either way, we did cautiously start introducing fresh blueberries, because I wanted to know, is it the dye or the blueberry itself? What is it? And it turned out that he was just fine with fresh blueberries. Didn't have to be organic. Honestly, at one point we realized it didn't even have to be washed, because when the child reached in a shopping cart and grabbed a fistful of blueberries and shoved them down his mouth at one point, and nothing bad happened, I was like, okay, we're okay, we're good. But we did have to go through this process of trying to figure out, is it the dye or the blueberry? So here's my next little CTA for you guys. Breathe, relax. I'm going to teach you a very quick breathing exercise in a little bit, but try box breathing. You breathe in for 3 counts, however many counts you want. You hold it for 3 counts. You breathe out for 3 counts. You hold it, and then you breathe in. It makes a little square, but what's a 3-dimensional square, guys? It's a box. Come on, go with me. Box breathing. Learn to breathe, my autism moms. Learn to breathe, my families that have special needs folks. Learn to breathe, people that end up dealing with other folks that are like me when they first bring kids home, or when they bring kids home after surgery and they have all these allergies and such. Because those end up being special needs kids too, right? You get some kids that have incredible amount of allergies. So that leads me to another funny story. Um, I can tell it now because my girlfriend knows. But for a while, I was too embarrassed to even tell her. But anyway, call to action is parents, breathe. Because honestly, there are so many things. I was just being extra upon extra upon extra. My son, I think it's because the things that he went through were so life threatening. There was a part of me that was just like, if I don't monitor everything, if I'm not the one that's there were even times that I pushed my husband, like, no, you can't do it. Let me do it. I got to be the one. It was hilarious because you can't do it all. You can't do it all. There's no way. Because honestly, we all also know that at some point, I'm not always going to be here for my baby. Spiritually, I will. I do believe in Jesus. You know, I'm a Jesus girl. I believe I'm going to heaven. Jesus is real. I love Jesus. Baby loves Jesus. Amir loves Jesus. And one day he knows we're all going to be in heaven together. But he also understands that mommy's not going to always be here. And that's okay because you're going to be taken care of. I am doing very well today. So I saw someone ask me that. And I am doing well. And this is more of a fun post than other things. So let me tell you this other little story about special needs kids. So I have a lot of family members and a lot of friends that I went to med school with who have kids with special needs, special medical needs, right? So my son happens to have autism, but I got a friend out there who has a child with sickle cell. And as you can imagine, with sickle cell crises and other things, pain crises, having to go to the hospital multiple times, that can be pretty scary. And one of the other things that one of my other friends has, her son had a lot of allergies, a lot of different allergies. I'm hoping that this is going to inspire her to come and share some things about the work that she does. But her son had lots of allergies, and because of them, he had a significant diet restriction, significant limitations on what he could eat. And there was a point in time where it was like no eggs, no dairy, no pretty much the child, I mean, they no nuts, obviously. The child could not eat a lot of things. And I will never forget going and being there with them for a period of time. And I'm just like, I got this. I'm Dr. Mom. I got my son taken care of, and I got all the stuff together for him. You know, it's rare for us to feel completely competent, guys. So when you feel like that, you just kind of ride with it because you don't know how long it's going to last. And she's just like, oh, can you make quick lunch for the kids? I was like, yeah, I gotcha. And she's like, oh, his list of allergies over there. And so I'm looking. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got you. So I'm making the lunch. I remember all of the things that I said that this child cannot have. What's one of the most common allergies for food? If it's not dairy, it's eggs or nuts. I heard you say it. Nuts. Many kids have a nut allergy. Right? I think it's number one. But between nuts, eggs, and dairy, you're pretty much getting the bulk of what most kids may have an allergy. Either an allergy or a sensitivity, meaning that even if they don't break out in a rash or have anaphylaxis, have difficulty breathing, something like that, it'll be quite uncomfortable for them. And we're talking like days, not just couple minutes or something. Now, we'll tell you that story in a minute. Remind me about Brazilian nuts. That's another little hilarity. So for this little person, and I'm going to say he might have been 5. He may have been 5. I don't even think he was 5 at the time. Now he's a teenager. But at the time, he was like maybe 5. And guess what we were making, guys? We were making, of course, everybody's favorite peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I know. I know. But anyway, my little guy had sunflower butter. I think it's like sunflower nut butter. Whatever it is, it's a sunflower version of the peanut butter. It's safe. We're good, right? Well, I make the peanut butter and jelly for all the other friends. And I kept saying, as I made every child's sandwich, I got to make sure that when I make his, I use the sunflower, right? The sun butter. And I'm just going and I'm rocking out, giving kids the things that they need and doing the stuff. And I just started making this sandwich. And I don't know, I guess I just got happy with making my sandwich. And I got ready to slide it over. And he said, Aunt Regina, I can't eat that. It'll make me sick. He had the cutest little voice. Now he's all deep voice and everything. But I remember when he was a little itty bitty thing. He had the cutest voice. And he was like, I can't eat it. It'll make me sick. I felt so bad. Thank God he didn't eat it. He just kind of looked at it. He said, I can't eat that. It'll make me sick. And I said, you are right, baby. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm going to eat this one for me. This is going to be mine. And then we washed our hands, put the knife and all that other stuff away, got a whole nother set of things out, fresh bread, fresh plate, fresh knife, fresh sun nut butter, fresh, whatever he wanted. And I whatever you want, baby, you can have. But yes, he knew. He was very aware of what he could and could not eat. And I just felt so bad because I'm like a mom of a special kids child with known allergies, including food allergies. I'm a physician. I should know better. But, I was just, sometimes you don't even think about it. And you can laugh later, but oh my Lord, can you imagine if that child had that peanut butter jelly sandwich? My girlfriend would have scalped me. She would have really hurt me bad. We both have indigenous, so please don't get me for the scalping comment. I apologize. But yeah, she would have gotten me though. She really would have gotten me. And I just didn't know what to do. So I think I told her later that day, but it was a while because I was like, how do I even tell her that I almost gave her child peanut butter? And when I told her, she was like, girl, it happens. Like, she's like, that's what keeps me so busy. Yes, he is a smart little boy. It's a very smart little boy. So let me tell you the next one. And so this is more of me than more me and the kids, but I'll make this the last hilarity story, which I thought was just so funny. So the CTAs don't it's be brave and try new things, but use common sense and be healthy as well. Okay, so let me just share that before we go any further. So as I said, son had nut allergies. And then I started noticing that my daughter had some certain things. And then we realized that she had seasonal allergies. I was like, okay, he's got food allergies and drug allergies, and she has seasonal allergies. Okay. Then out of the blue, my mom, we've lived in, Maryland is crab central. Okay. But Virginia has the best crabs. I mean, y'all can have crab cakes. You can have Maryland crab soup. I give you that. However, Virginia, we really do have the best crabs, just hands down. Let's just leave it there. I'm from Virginia. I live in Maryland now. I love both states, especially Maryland. But Virginia has the best crabs. But out of the blue, in her, I'm going to guess maybe late 40s, my mom just developed an allergy to crabs. She would eat crabs and just itch. Just eat and itch. Yes, Virginia, best crabs. But she'd been eating crabs all her entire life. And all of a sudden, she just couldn't eat blue crabs anymore. And it was so painful. And we're talking fresh cracked crab, all the way to crab legs, all the way to crab cake. Whenever she would eat it, it would give her very, very, very big problems. Also developed difficulties with eating hamburgers. But around that time, crabs were just became very, very difficult for her. Sad for mom, but I kept on eating crabs. I wouldn't do it in front of her, but I would still eat crabs other places. And then I also noticed that I started having some funny food things going on, and I just couldn't understand what was going on. But as it turned out, I started notice when I would eat cans of mixed nuts, my tongue would itch. And I was just like, okay, what is this? And I'm thinking there's something in the can or whatever. And then I realized, Regina, there's probably something in this mixed nut that you're allergic to. Now, once again, as a kid, I'm eating all of these things, having no problems whatsoever. I come from Suffolk, Virginia, which is the peanut capital of the world at the time. I think it's since lost the title. But nuts abounded where I was from. So getting a can of Planters mixed nuts at Christmas time, Thanksgiving, on your birthday, for your wedding, getting the big Planters, yes, it was a thing. With the crab cracker, because of course we have the best crabs. But for whatever reason, when I hit my 30s and 40s, could not eat a full can of mixed nuts. Now, what would any normal rational person do? Any normal rational person would say, okay, well, I can't eat mixed nuts. Is something in here? And just as I go and eat regular nuts individually, I'll figure out which one it was. Well, of course, Virginia was not going to do that. Dr. Virginia was just like, remember, I was determined to see if my child was allergic to the dye or the blueberry. Well, am I allergic to the peanut, the humble peanut? Oh gosh, no. Almonds or the walnuts or the pecans or pecan. We say pecan, but I'm trying to adopt my husband's language, pecan. It's really pecan. Or is it the Brazilian nut or whatever, cashew? They were all in there. So again, a rational person, less scientific mind would probably just say, as I come across different nuts. But no, I decided to buy a fresh pack of a can and sit and eat what I knew probably wasn't the one, and then wait until I got to the end. And peanuts were fine, cashews were fine, thank God. Walnuts were fine, pecans were fine. What were the other ones? There was one other random one that was in there. And then the humble Brazilian nut. I ate it. My tongue immediately began to itch. My throat began to itch. My lips got numb. So I don't have a terrible allergy to Brazilian nuts. I don't think, if I ate a whole can of them, who knows what would happen. But when I ate that one nut from the can, I immediately had the reaction. So that's how I realized that I was allergic to Brazilian nuts, because the scientist in me was determined to figure out which one it was. So that was my scientific experiment on myself. Which yielded a benefit, because now I know if I do buy a can of mixed nuts, I take all the almonds out first. And then honestly, once I've taken the Brazilian nuts out, I actually can, for the most part, eat the other nuts without too much of a problem. Or the smarter version of me will look to see if they're Brazilian nuts in the mixed nuts. If they're Brazilian nuts in there, I just won't even buy it, because I don't want a chance having you're really enjoying, your experience. I am a bit of a foodie, so I'm enjoying my experience. And then you bite on something and it's not fun. So I'll just buy them without it. So those are my little hilarious stories about being a special needs mom, living in a world of other kids who may have special medical needs or may have allergies or other things. So I would love for you to tell me what your funny story is, or some of your funny stories. I'd love to see them. Funny memes, I will take them all. If they dance, if they light up, if they laugh, if they make me cry laughing, like, big ups for that, because we all need laughter at different periods of time, especially from these past few weeks, this past weekend. So many very, very, very difficult things have happened. And I know it's even difficult to think about and talk about. But from a self-care perspective, I do want you to do one thing today, and that is to unplug. Does not have to be long. If you have to be at your computer for work, that's fine. Be at your computer. But every hour, take a good solid 5 minutes to pop up, 10 if you can get it, to just pop up and walk around your desk, or to take and have a nice little stretch break, do the breathing. Any of those things would be great. And I really would appreciate that, because it's going to make you feel better. It's going to make the people around you feel better. And ultimately, by the end of the week, if you've been doing some of these things, you're going to have a great restful weekend, because you've already set yourself up for that relaxation stage. Okay. And then what happens over weekends? We get rejuvenated and we come back ready to do it all over again, but even better. And sometimes for different people, sometimes for different reasons. But either way, my hope for you is that you end your day with purpose, that you have at least one win, and that you've done something to relax yourself and remind yourself that you were worth it. All right. Thank you so much, Katie Rockstar. I really appreciate you. Thank you for your comments and for the likes. I love it. You guys over here on TikTok have a TikTok. Oh my gosh. I've renamed you guys so many times. You first, you were Tiki Taki because I could not say TikTok. And now you've become TikTok. But TikToks actually are really good and quite flavorful. So no offense, right? Okay. Well, you guys on TikTok, take care. Have a very blessed day on purpose. And for my folks over here on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We got you all over here. Of course, we'll be truncating some things down into reels. YouTube gets the full everything because you guys let us talk for however long we want to talk. But I really do love it when you comment because I like coming back to see the comments and just replying. Tic-tac. Yeah, it is. It's tic-tac. I love seeing the comments and replying to everyone. And I love questions. I love answering your questions. What I wanted to be before I wanted to be a doctor was a teacher. So, yeah, I live vicariously through my daughter who's a teacher. But every now and again, I get to come on and talk to you guys about things that I think are meaningful and important, especially for the month of April as we're talking about autism. But so excited about next month, where we'll be talking about mental health in general. So I'll be leaving the autism topic for the most part, and then going to a wealth of other information all over as it relates to mental health. And guess what? You're going to get to see in May what I've got on my shelf. And we might even take a tour of the garden because by then it will be at least mapped out. And the majority of my seedlings, my hydroponics, moved over into the garden in the front and the garden in the back. So you'll get to see my little container gardens, including all the wonderful things that I have, medicinals for mental health. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but you'll find out in May. And then we'll talk about that because May is a great time to go out and get some plants, some seedlings, and make sure that you have them in your little medicine garden. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And I hope that each of you has a very blessed day on purpose. Take care.